Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my live streams. This live stream that you are watching right now is that right there, the Ready, Set, Go preview show. This is a show that we do on Sunday night where we come together as a comic book community and we spend a little time socializing with one another and also talking about some news and current events. And as part of that, I also give you a preview of some of the content that is going to be coming out from the channel over the course of the week. And regardless of what we talk about, we always have a good time. And I am going to be going to the chat here in a moment to say hello to the comic book soldiers that have joined me on this Sunday night. And if you happen to be watching this right now live for the first time, I definitely want you to shout it out in the comment section so that you can be welcomed by the Giving Gang and the comic book soldiers. If you are watching this on replay and you haven't yet come to one of the live streams, either on Sunday night or Wednesday night, I want to officially invite you to come hang out, have a good time. And above all else, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. That way you don't miss out on any of the content that is going to be released on a weekly basis. Give a shout out to my man, Pretty Fly for a Filipino Guy. Dude, dropped a super chat. Dropped a super chat before the show even started. And I think he's saying happy birthday to Matt Woods. So I guess Matt Woods is a year older. And he's making a comparison here. He says, like a slabbed AF-15, a few spine ticks, a rusty staple here or there. Nonetheless, he gets better with nothing like making you feel good on your birthday when you're compared to a rusty staple. I mean, maybe the rusty staples are knees. And if that's the case, I can tell you for a fact that I have two rusty staples. I was just walking up a flight of stairs like, my goodness. So again, hello to everybody. Let me go to the chat real quick to say hello to some people. I said my man Randy Resnake is in here. It's good to see you, brother. Steve White, how you doing? The OG. The OG is in the house. My man Jerry, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you, my man Harvey Abel. Happy birthday, Rusty. Start calling you Rusty Staple. Matt Woods, if it is indeed your birthday, brother, happy birthday. I'm glad you made it home safely from, I think you were in Mississippi or something like that, passing through Charlotte. So I hope you made it home safely. I'm sure that the family was excited to see you back, man. My man Joe, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you. Squirrel Madness is in the house. The Canadians are in the house. Rush Die Hard, Squirrel Madness, and Harvey Abel, I saw him here a second ago. Action Figure Comedy is in the house. The other half of the Bratton clan. How you doing, brother? It is good to see you. Chuck is up in here. Let me scroll through the comments, seeing who else is in here. L. Smith, my man. LCS is in here. Scrolling through the comments. Shadow is in the house. It is good to see you. Again, welcome to everybody. If you are here again for the first time you've caught a live stream, I definitely encourage you to go ahead and let people know so that folks can officially welcome you. My man Ariel, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you. Repair Tech Tony, it's been a minute. Welcome back, man. Quest Dog is in here. Sinbad is in here. How you doing? William Cruz is here. Definitely good to see all you guys. Let me give you a preview of some of the content that's going to be coming out from the channel. Trying to mix things up just a little bit, moving away from maybe the format that we had before to something a little bit different. Haven't quite figured it out, but we will do so together. So couple of cool videos coming out this week. One of them is on obscure comics. I continue to find some crazy obscure comics in the 100K collection. Maybe I should probably say like find and then re-find, because I found many of these before and then lost them in the collection, and now I have found them yet again. So we're going to be releasing a video in which I show you some obscure collection comics from the 100K collection. And the 100K does not imply how much I spent. It is the number of comics that were actually purchased at one time. It's a massive collection. If you haven't seen the tour of the collection, I definitely encourage you to check that out. There are a ton of videos on the channel which I show you the collection being loaded up and delivered and all that kind of stuff. And then now in its final home here in North Carolina. A couple of really cool videos out there. I think there's probably like 12 or so that I've done over the collection. We're also going to be doing a video This week, it's a 5 tips video on how to not catch a brick. And a brick is basically a bad deal or bad situation. So I'm doing a video in which I talk about ways that you can avoid catching a brick. And I think that it's an interesting video that may actually help some people out there. So I definitely encourage you to stay tuned for that. We're going to be doing comics today on Wednesday. That's one of the live shows that we do on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Definitely a fun show. There will potentially be a really awesome reveal. Let's call it a reveal during that show. There's a couple of things that I need to work on over the next few days before I can talk about that. But I think it's going to be a really cool reveal that we're going to do on Wednesday. So I definitely encourage you to tune in for that. And then the last video that I'm going to be dropping is a CGC unboxing as well as a CGC submission. So those are basically the live and pre-recorded videos that are going to be dropping from the channel. In addition to those things, are going to be dropping a blog post on Wednesday from my man Doug. We actually scheduled all of his blog posts for the next month. So we're going to be dropping one of those on this coming Wednesday at 7 a.m. And then we're also going to be releasing a podcast on Monday at 7 a.m. So a lot of really good content that comes out from the channel. The blog post is available on regiecollects.com, the blog page, of course. And then the podcast is available on your favorite listening platform. Doesn't matter what listening platform you use, if it's Spotify or Podbean or iTunes or iHeart, whatever it is. If you search for Regie Collects, you will find me there and you will be able to tap into a lot of podcasts. There's a lot of podcast content out there. So Harvey Abel says he's watching me on the TV. How do I look, though, sir? How do I look? That is the question. Master Blaster in the house. How you doing, brother? It is good to see you. How you doing? It is good to see you guys hanging out, coming out week after week to support the channel. I definitely appreciate you guys. Somebody sent me a message earlier today saying it was like what was it, Spider-Man's anniversary or Spider-Man's birthday or Spider-Man Day or something like that. So what is this? Chuck saying Amazing Spider-Man 342, Spider-Man faces the deadly menace of Dr. Rusty Staples. I didn't know where that was going, man, but that it ended in a really funny place. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I trained legs. I think you guys saw on Instagram. I had trained legs. I want to say maybe on Friday or something like that. I think it was Friday. I'm gonna tell you, I'm having a tough time. I'm having a tough time walking around, getting off the sofa, doing anything that requires my lower body. I am struggling with today. I actually got in the sauna. My wife has a sauna here at the house. She encouraged me to get in because I was moving stiffly and walking funny, she says. So I got in the sauna, sweated some things, and I felt a little better. But then the DOMS has to work its way out of my muscles before I'm fully functioning. So yeah, man, this guy right here, Master Blaster. His wife took a shot at him. His wife took a shot at him and asked him what his end game was to this whole comic book thing. I definitely encourage you guys to check out that video on his Instagram. I'm sorry, it's on his Instagram, a clip of it, but I think the full video is on his YouTube channel. So Master Blaster, throw that up in the chat, man, if you have the links so folks can actually check that out. So scrolling through Reggie 60, no freaking way. Black don't crack. That's all I'm gonna say to you. No, I am not 60, not at all. I will tell you, I took a lot of time off this weekend to spend time with the family, do some things around the house. I did not do a whole lot in the comic book room at all this weekend. I needed a little bit of a break to kind of recharge just a little bit. So it is definitely good to be back, man. I took a little time because it was absolutely needed. So he's Pretty Fly is dropping all kinds of super chats in here so I can upgrade myself. He's like, hey, man, get them new knees, brother. Get those new mechanical knees, those bionic knees. I've been watching this show. I don't know if you guys have seen this show. It is called All American. It's All American on Netflix with Taye Diggs. I have watched, I am into season 2 right now. I just started watching this thing the other day. It is an incredible show. I'm loving this show. It's about football. It's about family. It's about, just people living in 2 different worlds. I am thoroughly enjoying that show. If you guys haven't seen that, check that out. Squirrel Madness, brother. Squirrel Madness, Jonah Hex. The Jonah Hex movie with the guy that played Thanos. I watched it the other day. It is a little corny. It is a little corny, but I actually enjoyed it. It tanked at the box office. And I was thinking about you, Squirrel Madness, when I was watching this thing, because I think you're kind of into some Jonah Hex stuff. I actually I watched it and I was like, is this a TV show? Is this new? Is this a movie? Like, what is it? So I started doing a little bit of research, and I think they spent 40 some odd $million on this Jonah Hex thing that turned out to only make about $11 million. Like, it was a total stinker. It was a total stinker. I think they did it back in 2010 or something. Like Josh Brolin. Josh Brolin was the guy that played Jonah Hex. And I think, what is her name? Megan Fox? Is it Megan Fox, the girl that was in Transformers? She was also in this thing. And if you guys haven't seen it, it's worth a watch. I think it was on Amazon. I think it's on Amazon Prime, I want to say. But Jonah Hex, not bad. I actually looked at the first appearance of Jonah Hex. I was like, man, maybe I should just go ahead and buy it. But I didn't do that. I did not pull the trigger on that. Test, shout out, brother. Thank you for the super chat there. I definitely appreciate that. He's speaking in French. The Canadians are having their own conversation here in the room. I don't know what the end of that thing. I don't know what the end of that says, but test for Echo 2112. I definitely appreciate the super chat, brother. Thank you very much. What is this? I think we're all getting to that point, man, where we can use smoke grades, man. Some WD-40, some white lightning, something on the knees, and possibly even an ankle or elbow or shoulder or 4 or 5, right? I got a couple of broken things. So going on. Wayne's like, I might be Canadian, but I do not speak French. All right, so one of the things that I saw earlier today was a lot of stuff out there about DC, right? I think, I don't know that I cover DC as much as I should, and I'm trying to make an effort. I've been reading more DC. I think you guys have known that over like the last 18 or so months. I've been reading more DC stuff. And when I can, I try to showcase some DC stuff. But as you would imagine, there is just a lot of oxygen that gets sucked up by the things that Marvel is doing. There's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of content that is being created based upon Marvel properties. And I have an appreciation for Marvel comics. And so I had that affinity, right? And so I tend to lean more towards Marvel. But again, I am trying to do some things for DC. So I saw this earlier today, and I wanted to go ahead and share because it actually says a lot. It says a lot, I think, maybe about the next generation. It says a lot about what DC is attempting to do. And I think that it's all good, regardless of how you look at it. I think that this is all good stuff. So in this article that I found earlier today on Newsarama, it basically says DC looks for the next generation of comic book readers in Walmart. And I think that there is a lot of people that are like, hey, go back to the 7-Elevens, go back to the bodegas, go back to the corner stores and things like that. I think maybe what, the publishers have realized is that the shopping experience has changed, and people are not necessarily going to the bodegas and the corner stores maybe as much, right? And so that reach doesn't necessarily get them where they want to go. But America does shop at Walmart. I don't, but America does shop at Walmart. And I think that this article highlights exactly how DC is trying to make some magic happen. So DC, Marvel, and other publishers who find a good portion of its readers in dedicated, mostly independent comic shops with its skew towards people like me, they're always looking for newer and younger readers to cultivate its next generation of customers. DC's latest effort to reach readers early is called My First Comics, a program that is launching in 500 participating stores in North America for Walmart, and also, I guess, on Walmart.com. And they're basically putting out this thing, citing the fact graphic novels are among the fastest growing categories in book sales. Captain Underpants goes on to talk about Dog Man. I think Dog Man sold like 8 million copies through Scholastic or something like that. But they highlight here that it sold over 900,000 copies in just 4 months of release, according to BookScan. This thing goes on to talk about, let me see, what this thing is actually going to look like. In addition to stores featuring DC in addition to stories featuring DC and Warner Brothers characters, each 48-page flip book will also include kids geared activity pages, including mazes and puzzles. I guess kind of like highlights, which is something that my kids love. I loved it as a kid. So they're introducing some of that here. 2 volumes will launch the program My First Comic Batman, featuring DC's most popular and often ubiquitous character, of course, and My First Comic Space Jam, a new legacy tying into Warner Brothers' recent live-action animated hybrid sequel movie. I don't know that people like right now, but they are still trying to make some magic happen with this Space Jam thing that they've introduced. But it's a really good idea to be able to reach the next generation of readers that are out there. I think the article highlights here that they're actually trying to go after children age 6 to 9 or something like that are just now reading or are getting into reading and learning how to read. And my kid definitely falls into that line. He's 6. He's able to read pretty well. And I think it's pretty interesting that they are actually, again, going to Walmart, trying to make some magic happen, trying to reach the next generation of readers that are out there. So I think it's definitely a good move. I was trying to find the section here. Yeah, according to BookScan, the new products aim to reach readers ages 6 through 9 through stories geared towards that demographic. And reading skills. So I thought that was pretty cool that they're actually trying to make some magic here happen with the next generation. I know there's a lot of people out there that have expressed concerns and things like that the hobby itself is actually getting older. What are we doing to reach the new generation? We need to do more in order to get younger readers interested into some of the things that comics are. And I think you see both companies kind of doing some things, right? So I think it was last week, about Marvel actually doing some things with Scholastic. No, that's actually in a video that you guys haven't seen yet. I was talking about Marvel doing some things with Scholastic in order to get younger readers in the school. And Marvel also did some things at Walmart, but now we see them actually, DC that is, going pretty heavily, I think, into the next generation by doing this thing. 500 stores is not an easy lift, right? But they're basically putting this stuff out there, trying to get the next generation of readers interested. And a lot of people will say that, well, graphic novels aren't comics. To me, it's all comics, right? If it's sequential art, it is a comic book. You know what I'm saying? So call it a fancy term like a graphic novel or whatever, right? It is a comic in my book. So let me go over here to the comments here. There's a couple. What does that say? Hopefully Walmart stocks the comics better than the weak effort that Walmart has in stocking toys. Well, let's be honest. Let's hope that they don't put the stickers on the books, because that's another big thing, right? Especially because you guys are going to go in there and buy them all up. But here's the thing. I don't know, Zim, if you've been to like any of these stores lately. It doesn't matter whether you're talking about Target or not. It seems like toys are just in like short supply everywhere. It seems like shelves are like half stocked. They may have like one of a toy, if that, you know what I'm saying? And I say that because I literally spent an hour at Target just yesterday with my kids. Took them to Target to get them out of the house, away from my wife, so she could have a break. We went there, we walked the aisles, we buy toys, and the selection is just not very good. The selection is not very good and has not been for like the last 18 months, because this is something that I do with my kids regularly to, again, give the wife a little bit of a break. You give the kid a good toy, the kid goes in and is quiet for at least a good hour, maybe even 2 hours if it's a really, really good toy. But yeah, scrolling through some of the comments here. Regie A says wife wants to go to Walmart tomorrow to see if they have any books in. Get after it, brother, because I do not know the timing. I do not know the timing of this. This article, I want to say, came out like 2 days ago, so I don't know what's going on with the timing of it. Graphic novel. I think that makes people feel better when you say it's a graphic novel. My rule is comics from Walmarts are not part of my Walmart budget, not part of my comic budget, which means more comics. Hey, technically, comics come from the LCS, right? and groceries and other things come from Walmart. So if it is a comic not from the LCS but from the other place, it lives in this middle world. Your rationale, I get on board with it. I get on board. I fully support this. I fully support it. All I'm saying to you guys out there is leave some of the comics for the kids. Okay, don't take all the comics. Don't buy all the comics up. Leave some for the 6 to 9-year-old that is trying to learn how to read. That's all I'm saying to you. Let me see. I'm scrolling through some of the comments here. There you go. We need to take a page from manga. The kids love it. I don't know the statistics on that, but I've had a lot of people say to me that American comics, if you will, are dying. And they're dying because graphic novels have gone up, in terms of like the volume, and then that manga has also gone up. And I guess you can see those things as separate things, all of them as separate things if you want, or you can see them as one thing, which is sequential art. I don't know the proper way to actually look at it, to be honest with you. So the collectors are rated. I just made that point. I see the photos on Instagram. And people will post a photo and they'll say, left one for the kid. Left one GI Joe for the kids. But you don't see how many they bought, right? I think that's part of it. I'm telling you, the collectors are hitting the Walmarts and the toy stores, and they're buying. I went to the store. My kid, so we talked about He-Man, right? I turned He-Man on. I sat there for like 15 minutes. My boy walked in. He sat down. He started watching it. My boy watched, I think it was the first 5 episodes. He watched them 3 times. And I said it to him. I said, Carter, how many times are you going to watch this? It's like, you've seen this like 3 times. He said, no, Dad, I've seen it 4 times. So he's watched these 4 episodes these 5 episodes over and over and over again, right? So we go to Target and I see on the shelf, I said, Carter, there's He-Man. There's Skeletor. Do you want it? No, Dad. I'm like, okay. I tried. There was one of each on the shelf. He wanted no parts of it. You know what he wanted? Dinosaurs. He wanted more. I swear it is like Jurassic Park in my house every day. What is this? Toys R Us has passed away, and it seems, yeah, man. We used to hit the Toys R Us pretty heavily. I mean, you could burn a good, 2 hours in there. I would take the kids sometimes like early on, like I would take my boy and I would let him just walk the aisles. When my wife had my younger daughter, we would just go there and I would just let him walk the aisles. It would tire him out. He would leave with one toy. I would look like a hero when I walked in the house after being gone for that long with him and letting her do her thing with my daughter. But yeah, Toys R Us, it was very sad when that shut down. And I don't know. I don't really see toy stores. So that's why we go to Target. That's why we do that. So scrolling through, let me see. The employees take all. You could be right, brother. You could be right. I have heard rumor of that as well. So no, Dad. Yeah, man. See, I'm gonna tell you, they walked out of there with 3 toys each, though. They walked out with 3 toys each. My wife looked at me when I came in. She said, "What'd you do? Buy it all?" I said, "No, I left one on the shelf for the kids." So scrolling through, what is this? Regie, I have tips for getting your kids. Brother, I have a whole video on getting my kids into comics. So, but no, definitely interested to hear what your thoughts are. There is a video on the channel that I've actually created that actually talks about that very thing. So my kids, they get so into comics that I find them, ripped up, spread out through the house. So they are very much into the comics. They make paper mache out of this stuff. That's just how they roll. Scrolling through, I used to have an inside man. I used to have an inside woman at the what was that place? Half Price Books. Had a woman at the Half Price Books, man. I'm gonna tell you right now, those books, the good books, never made it to the floor because I was getting them in the back. That was a good hookup. I think I get ASM 300 that way. I got a couple of books out the back from the Half Price Books. I do miss that. So scrolling through some of the comments here, scrolling through. Cool. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and put somebody in timeout real quick. So, all right. So that was one of the first things that I wanted to talk about was the fact that DC is making some moves by moving into Walmart and trying to tap into that next generation. I think that this is a wonderful move, and I know that there's a lot of people out there in the comic book community that are trying to do something similar, where they bring together all these comics from collectors and people that don't necessarily want these comics, and they pass them off to hospitals and libraries and Boy Scouts and all kinds of stuff. So I think there's a lot of this really good stuff that's actually happening out there, and I wanted to make sure that I highlighted that because DC is definitely doing the right thing with that one. So scrolling through some of the comments here, Monique is like, I miss toy stores. Man, I'm gonna tell you, just not anymore. Not anymore. You don't really see that anymore. And I don't know if we will see toy stores come back. Amazon, man. I mean, my boy watches occasionally watches YouTube, and he watches all the unboxings of the toys and stuff like that. And then he's like, I want that toy. Like he'll call you into the room and I want that toy. You go to Target, that toy's not there. It's really not. So the only place to really get it is through Amazon. So again, who knows how all this stuff is going to play out. But because we are talking about the kids, I wanted to talk about this next topic, and then I am going to get back to DC. There's one other DC related thing that I wanted to talk about, but this next one is one that I saw earlier today, and then I decided to go read the comic. I decided after reading the article, I went to go read the comic because I realized that despite the fact that I have a lot of this comic, I had never actually read it. And it wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible. But again, I think maybe this is something that Marvel is trying to do to maybe attract the newer generation of a reader as well. So Power Pack Kids are returning soon with a new Marvel series by their original creators. And so they talk about the original creators, Louise Simonson and June, are working together on a new limited series for the adolescent team at Marvel. And the adolescent team, of course, is Power Pack. And it says, although not officially announced by Marvel, the as yet unnamed 5-issue series will see the two women re-team with inker Roy Richardson and a colorist Nolan Woodward. And so they said details on the plot are largely unknown, but Newsarama has been told it involves getting involved. I don't get that. Involves getting involved. I don't know what that means. But it's basically going back and to some degree or another retelling the origin story, if you will, from the standpoint of this war, I guess, between the Snarks and a race that basically looks like a colorless Beta Ray Bill. And that's what they're talking about, like this seahorse, like, I don't even know how you say that. I don't even know what that word is, but they're basically like Beta Ray Bill, only colorless, like the Vision, when I went and read the comic. And so it talks about how originally introduced in 1984, Power Pack is composed of the children of the Power Pack family. I'm skipping through all that stuff. So it talks about they go on to become a formal superhero team on Earth, interacting with other heroes, including Spider-Man, the X-Men, and the Fantastic Four. And so again, I went back and reread the comic, and it is not terrible. It's also not great. And I don't know if this is aimed at adults, if you will, or if it's truly something that is aimed at adolescents, at kids, the next generation, potentially. I did not know this section here, right? It says Power Pack was actually a TV pilot back in the 90s, which aired on Fox. And since the inception of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the franchise has been mentioned as a possible future project. So I thought that was really interesting. One, because I never knew that it was actually a pilot that was turned into something that was on TV. And I did not hear the rumors about it being part of the MCU. But one of the things that I have been hearing feeling is that there is the potential that the MCU is going to definitely slant younger in some ways to be able to attract some of those younger viewers and ultimately convert them into being readers, and potentially Power Pack is how they're actually going to do that. So I don't know if you guys have ever read Power Pack. There was a Power Pack TV plot, you can still find it on YouTube. There you go. There you go. Everything's on the YouTube. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Everything is out there. I'm gonna let one of you guys watch it first and tell me what it's like before I go check it out. What is this? Power Pack had some interesting arcs. One was about child abuse. There you go. There you go. And again, I have a lot of these comics in the collection. Haven't read them. Haven't read them until today. I read part of issue 1. I have not reached the part where they even received their powers just yet. I was reading the part where the seahorse-like creature, he had crashed. He was fighting the Snarks, which aren't really the Snarks. They have an unpronounceable name or something like that. I think that's how he referred to them. So I have not gone beyond that. So scrolling through, let me see. I think I wasn't the original Power Pack directed for kids. Again, I don't know. You guys had me at a disadvantage on that one, to be honest with you. I was never really into that. And as I say it, here you go. Comic Journey basically says the same thing. So let me see. Scrolling through some of the comments here. Yeah, there you go. And I think a lot of us are probably in the same boat, Philtastic. But I seem to remember about 6 to 8 months ago, there was a lot of interest in Power Pack, right? All of a sudden, I kept hearing Power Pack, and I was like, well, what is this Power Pack, right? And it could have been because of the fact that they were thinking about bringing the two creators back to work on this book. Maybe that's why we started hearing some rumors. I don't know if Power Pack issue number 1 actually went up in value. It would not surprise me if it did, but I remember hearing some noise out there about Power Pack and not being able to really figure out the reason behind it. But honestly, you can almost say that about just about anything that is out there, right? Because there are so many different rumors, so much different, speculation out there as to what the future is going to be and what's going to be next and what's going to be hot and all that kind of stuff, that you can almost fill the blank in with just about anything. So if you guys are coming in a little late, the very first thing that we talked about was that DC is actually making some move. They're rolling out a pilot program. I'm calling it a pilot, with 500 Walmarts across the country, in which they're going to be introducing a roughly 50-page graphic novel that is really targeted towards kids, specifically 6 to 9-year-old kids that are learning how to read. And so it's a program where they're basically trying to tap into the next generation, and they're going after them where they shop, which is at Walmart. Because let's be honest, what other retailer would you use, right, to really be able to get to adolescents and kids? What other retailer could you realistically use that is nationwide, at least in the United States? I'm hard pressed to come up with another physical retailer that you could potentially work with, but maybe you all out there could think of some others that aren't top of mind. So Steve, I think he became part of Power Pack. He was not Power Pack, but I think he became part of the team, because I want to say, and again, I'm reading into this based upon me having read half a comic. I think that there's four true members of Power Pack that get their powers, and I think they're all siblings. And so I think Franklin Richards became part of the team, but I think the cornerstone is basically the 4 parents. But again, I think that there's other people out there that probably know a whole lot more better than me. So Rob out there is saying 1, 2, 3, ready. That's awesome. Reading is fundamental. More books, the better. That's what's up. I mean, they're also trying to tap into that money, so let's not forget that, right? They're trying to get into some of that money. So let me see. Comic Journey says issue 27 was the only one I think had any significance due to the X-Men crossover during the Mutant Massacre. My guess is that also issue number 1 has some significance, just because it is issue number 1, unless that was not their first appearance. So let me try something really quick. Let me see what we can find out here real quick. It helps to have the ability to spell and to not hit the incorrect button. So it looks like, yeah, the first team appearance of Power Pack was Power Pack issue number 1. And then the only other book that is cited in Key Collector app is Power Pack issue number 18, the first appearance of Curse. Curse with a K. Those seem to be the only hot books. There is a $1.25 Canadian price variant that is out there. So shout out to the Canadians yet again. But yeah, those two books, issue number 1 and issue number 18, appear to be the only ones that have some significance. Not to say, Comic Journey, that you are wrong. Those are just the only ones that I'm finding here. And really only Power Pack issue number 1 appears to have any value, according to Key Collector, which is not a pricing guide. They have the value at only about $20 on the high side for raw comics. So scrolling through some of the comments here, seeing what else you guys are talking about. Scrolling. There you go. I do not disagree with this statement at all. And that's one of the great things about, there are some members of the comic book community, I think, that do a pretty good job of this, right? Like John's Comics with Kids is one channel that I haven't watched in a while, but I used to watch on Saturday morning. He does a show with his 2 daughters, and they talk about the comics that they've read and why they like them. And the girls really, kind of help run the show. You know what I'm saying? They are the content, if you will, and John is there to kind of help them through the process. But what was cool is that I would put this show on Saturday morning, and my kids would come into the room and they would watch the girls on screen talk about comics. And I thought that was just a really cool thing. John even sent a wonderful AOK to me for my children of comics. And I thought that was a really cool move. So I would completely agree, Steve. I think the more things that we can do to get kids into comics, I think the better off we will be as a hobby. I think, again, there's so many people out there that have learned to read because of comics as children that are now adults that see the power of comics, that I think we just have to continue to foster that, because I think it helps. Ice Cole, how you doing? Welcome to the live stream, my friend. Scrolling through some of the comments here. Yes, that's it. Power Pack issue number 1. All right. So far we've spoken about DC's move to actually introduce comics into a graphic novels, into Walmarts, at least 500 of them across the country. We've also spoken a little bit about potentially what Marvel is also doing to continue fostering maybe younger readers by introducing Power Pack, a new I think a 5-part limited series that may result, maybe in Power Pack actually coming to the MCU. There's all kinds of rumors out there about the way that the MCU is actually headed. And then the very last thing that is on my schedule to actually talk about is my man Jim Lee. This dude is killing the game. At some point, I will meet Jim Lee, but he has raised over $800,000 to support local comic shops. And this is actually something that he started, I think, relatively early on in the pandemic. A lot of LCSs were actually shut down, not able to remain open because of various local, state, federal guidance that had been provided. And he started doing a bunch of sketches and selling these sketches on the eBay, and then using those proceeds to actually support local comic shops to prevent them from going out of business. And that is pretty dope. So again, Jim Lee raises over $800,000 for comic shops with his 60 and 60 original art sketches. The last of Jim Lee's 60 and 60 sketches meant to fundraise for comic shops affected by COVID-19 pandemic is complete, and the artist/DC executives' efforts have raised over $800,000. And he says, if 2020 taught me any life lessons, which it has in many direct and profound ways, it is that we cannot stand complacent, and that our actions above all count and can make a collective difference. He posted this on Facebook, and he went on to say in this post, I am thankful to have a talent which I could use to help make a small difference. Even though this is the last sketch of 60, I remain confident and excited for the future. This is not the end, but merely the beginning. So he actually worked with the BINC. I don't know how you abbreviate, not abbreviate, but how you say that, but it's the BINC Foundation. And I first became aware of this foundation when Jim started this thing. And the foundation basically provides funds, not just to comic shop owners, but also bookstore owners and employees of bookstores, including comic shops. So if anyone loses their job or if it's shut down, I think you can actually apply to basically receive compensation from this foundation to help you get through that rough patch. And so that was the first time I became aware of this foundation. But Jim Lee is working with them and has been for quite some time to be able to pump some money in. So he did the thing. He did the thing. And I think this last sketch, it was the last sketch that he did was of Jason Todd, and it sold for a little over $25,000. So shout out to Jim Lee, shout out to DC, shout out to this foundation for continuing to support local comic shops who have been impacted by the current pandemic that we are in right now. All right, with that, I'm going to go ahead and close this out so I can go back to the full screen. Let me see if I can scroll down. Thank you, Mark. Definitely appreciate that. Smash it. it, it is indeed free. It is indeed free. Doesn't cost you a thing. You just have to reach out and just tickle the button. Just tickle the button. That's all you have to do. Scrolling through, he is doing the thing. He is doing the thing. Scrolling through, what is that? Let me see. What is this? Yeah, there is some talk about that. Thank you for bringing that up, Dave. They are talking about pulling together all 60 sketches into an art book and basically selling the art book. And I'm guessing those proceeds will probably go into the BINC Foundation as well, and then ultimately flow out into local comic shops, into employees of comics. So I did read that, man. I would tell you, I would love to have a Jim Lee sketch. I when I tried to meet him at WonderCon and I fell asleep. You guys know this story. Fell asleep, didn't go. Uh, I I wanted a sketch, but I realized I was not going to buy a sketch because sketches from Jim Lee are expensive. They are expensive. Not 25 grand on the normal, but they are not cheap sketches. So shout out to those people that ponied up all that cash, $800,000 worth of money for comic book sketches from Jim Lee. That is a talent. That is a talent that is being put to really good use to benefit a lot of folks out there. So again, shout out to Jim Lee and also to DC Comics for all the stuff that they're actually doing out there. Let me see. Scrolling through some of the comments here. Take my money, Jim Lee. Man, I want the real thing. I want the real thing. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Scrolling through some of the comments here. Let me see. All right. I think I'm actually wait a minute. Has anyone seen any of Jim Lee's original X-Men one cover art? Does anyone own those pages? Never seen them on the internet. I promise you, brother. I promise you someone has those out there. I promise. That's one of the crazy things about our hobby is that I have a feeling that some of the best stuff is stuff that you probably will not see until it comes up for sale, potentially until someone passes away or something like that. Some of that really, really good stuff, I think, is being squirreled away or has been squirreled away. And I've spoken to enough people in the industry to know that is what happens with like the original art. It happens with the pristine copies of comics. It happens with video games. It happens with concert I mean, if it's a collectible, there is somebody out there with a ton of money that is just stockpiling this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So somebody out there has it. I just want to see it. I had an opportunity when I was at WonderCon. I may have told this story to you guys. I was at WonderCon. And I was walking around and I stopped at an original art booth and I was flipping through the original art, and it was basically all Jack Kirby original art. And it was in this one binder. And I'm like, this binder has to be like $200,000-$300,000 of just art in this one binder. And there were multiple binders on the table, right? But as I'm flipping through, every page is like upwards of $20,000, $30,000, every single page. And it's that was one booth, one art portfolio at one booth at one con. You know what I'm saying? So Crazy stuff, crazy stuff. Tickle, you got to tickle it. Just go ahead and tickle the subscribe button, the thumbs up, but whatever it is, just go and reach out for it. What an afternoon. Jungle Cruise, barbecue steak, and Reggie. Great man. That's a that's a good weekend. I was telling my wife just the other day we should probably put Jungle Cruise on for the kids. I think the kids would like that. I probably won't sit through, but everybody loves to rock, right? Everybody loves to rock, so we might need to throw that up for the kids so that they can actually check it out. We do TV on the wall at various points. So, what you better get busy, brother. You better get busy, my man. I'm telling you, those sketches go for some serious money. Yeah, Nate McCall points out Nerdy Girl has to have some of those sketches. I don't know if she has any Jack Kirby. I want to say that she might have some Ditko. But yeah, it would not surprise me. Nerdy Girl Danielle has an impressive collection of everything. It doesn't matter whether you're talking about Golden Age comics, in some cases, modern comics, video games, original art. But we also have to remember that it's technically not a collection. She's a dealer, right? She's a dealer. She's a business person. So it makes sense, right? She's not like, your average collector. So, but yeah, I'm not trying to take anything away from her, not in any way, shape, or form, but just trying to characterize it the right way, that it is more of like inventory for her versus a true collection. But it is impressive. It really is, especially when I interviewed her on the channel a couple of years ago. I want to say now, she brought on 10 Golden Age books. Brought on 10 Golden Age books, and just those 10 books, it was $1 million. That is impressive. That is an impressive feat for anyone. You know what I'm saying? And we only saw 10 out of many. And I remember she had this photo. This photo was up for quite some time. There were two photos that really stick out in my mind. And one of them was basically Amazing Spider-Man 1 through 441 that she had in a narrow row. Like she had them all like lined up, 1 through 441, all lined up. It was an impressive one. And I think the next one that really sticks out in my mind was Action Comics. She had them circled around her. Those are the two photos that are forever in my mind of Nerdy Girl, and what her inventory, what her collection represents in many ways can be summarized into those two photos. An impressive run of ASM and an impressive array of Action Comics. It doesn't get much better than that. So do you think you will ever make the transition into original art? It seems to be a pretty natural progression for veteran collectors. So I think that I would agree with that. I would agree with that. There are some collectors that make that transition a lot faster than others, right? There are some out there that start Silver Age, then they go Golden Age, and then they go original art. There are others that are like they jump into just those major Silver Age keys and then right into original art. Then there's others that just do original art. There for me, my most important thing was to do maybe two things. I wanted to have a full run of Amazing Spider-Man. That was super important to me. Full run of Amazing Spider-Man, favorite character. I wanted to achieve that goal. The next goal was to have a respectable Silver Age collection, right? That was the next goal, was to have a wonderful Silver Age collection that was representative of the best from the Silver Age. And I think now I have most of the books. I think I have most of the Silver Age books where I can now say, yeah, okay, I'm there. I think that those books could be upgraded, right? Because there's always room for upgrade. Now that I've done that, there are some Golden Age books that I want to get for my collection, right? And then after that, maybe original art. But I'll tell you, original art is very, very different from comics. Very different. I don't know if I'm ready to spend $50,000 on a cover for one page original art. I don't know if I'm ready for that, to be completely honest about that. Time will tell. Time will tell. Now, with that said, I also do have original art. Nothing killer. It's just good pages from good artists that I really like. I have that stuff. But nothing like, original Ditko or Kirby art. Maybe one day. You never know what the future holds. You never know. So scrolling through some of the comments here. I don't know what the heck, I don't know what that, I don't know what that means. I don't know. Scrolling through, any plan, what is this? Reggie, any updates in your 100K collection? Um, I don't really know how to answer that question. What I would say is that I do have a video coming out this week that will show you some additional obscure comics from the 100K collection. I can tell you that. Any other updates, you would have to be much more specific than that. I can tell you that on a regular and ongoing basis, I am still finding really awesome books in the collection that are hot books that are out there that people are like speculating on, people are talking about. And I, instead of going to a comic shop, I go to the garage and I find those books, and then I, if necessary, bag and board or rebag and board those books. There are some ongoing efforts to identify really cool books in the 100K collection, but outside of that, I would be hard pressed to answer that question. So yeah, if you want to be more specific, that would help. Scrolling through some of the comments here. James Tomlinson, good to see you, brother. Welcome back, man. Uh, no doubt. What is this? How can you tell if it might be a scam, original art? Everyone's going to be selling them when they are only copies off the printer. So what I would say to you is that original art doesn't come off of a printer, right? So the paper, the stock that is used for comic books is actually much larger. And I can't remember, is it Bristol board? It's actually larger and actually thicker than what would actually be able to go through a regular printer at home. So I think that that's one major dead giveaway. If it looks like a backing board or a regular size sheet of paper, is probably not going to be original art. There are original sketches that are done on smaller things, but original comic book art comes in a bigger format on that type of paper with the blue border and the notes and all that kind of stuff. So that's one major giveaway. The other thing is, I would say you probably want to, I don't know. I'm not the best for original art, right? I tend to buy from art houses if I'm going to buy some art, like an art dealer, which I am assuming they are reputable. Not some assumption, right? I am dealing with art houses that work directly with the artist. If I'm unable to buy the original art from the artist themselves, like my first piece of original art I bought from Philip Tan, because I like Philip Tan. Back when he was doing X-Men, I brought my first piece of original art directly from him. My following on pieces of art came from an art house that represented the artist, and so again, I had some comfort there. I don't know if I would spend big money buying original art off of eBay. I don't know if I would do that. There are a lot of auction houses, there are dealers that represent these artists. Those are great ways to be able to buy original art. So there may be some other people in here like Master Blaster that are much more knowledgeable than I in buying original art that can probably offer some tips and pointers in that respect. So there you go. So I guess Mark Andrews is saying that there is a printer that the way that I took that question was not, yeah, I took the question a different way. Let's just put it that way. So, but thank you, Mark. Scrolling through, let me see. There you go. Almighty Liger King. I got to get at least one original art one day from someone. There's a lot of ones in there, brother. I wish you luck with that one thing. Could you do a video on tips for buying original art? No, I could not do that. I could not do that because I don't know enough. I'm not well versed enough to actually do a video that would offer tips up, because I tend to do things myself to make sure I know what I'm doing before I create a video. There is a video out there, I do want to say, on the Go Collect channel, in which I interviewed somebody talking about original art. So you may want to check that out. Again, I think that's probably the best source that I have online right now. Is if you go over to Go Collect, I believe that there's a video, possibly even a podcast, where I interview one of their bloggers who talked about original art. That's probably your best bet. And if you can't find it, let me know and I can try to track it down for you. Scrolling through some of the comments here, you think we'll ever get to the point where original art that was done completely digital will be sold? Yes, I do. I do see that happening. I do see that absolutely happening. I can see artists that work digitally, turning those pages into NFTs and actually selling them. I absolutely see that. One of the things that I struggle with, because I actually had this conversation with somebody, I don't know if we'll ever see entire comic books as NFTs. I don't really know how that would work, because the pages are owned by the artist oftentimes and not by the publisher. So who would issue the NFT? Who would actually own the NFT to be able to sell it? Like, I don't know the legality of how all of that works, but artists, I think, typically own their original pages so that they can sell them, so that they can make some money. I think that there's a little bit of a gray area with some of this stuff that is probably going to be worked out as we move forward, because there's way too much money out there. So let me see. So I thought something about ASM 110. So I wonder how much an original. That's a good question, brother. And one of those things, I promise you, that cover is probably squirreled away somewhere. Somebody has ASM 110 squirreled away somewhere, and they're waiting to sell that for, like, a bazillion bucks, because it's the Gibbon, right? Yeah. Let me see. Scrolling through. I don't get this. What? So the NFT thing is, to me, it is interesting. It really is an interesting concept. And I don't find it maybe all that strange, right? Because it's really about ownership of a one of a kind thing. The big difference is that the one of a kind thing that is owned is digital versus physical. And the challenge with comic book collectors is that we like tangible things. That's why we have comics hanging on walls, because we like tangible things. That's one of the big things that I kind of struggle with is, I want to flip through my book. I want to look at it in a portfolio. I want to hang it on a wall. I don't want to pull up my app to look at my NFT. It's a very different thing. And that's why I personally struggle with it just a little bit, but I definitely get it. I definitely get the concept. So uh let me see. If I could ever get one piece of original art, it would be the cover for Daredevil 169, hands down. If that's the only one I ever get, I would be content. That's what's up. I respect it, brother. I respect it right there. Definitely a cool book. Tina, thank you. Thank you. The original Gibbon Gang t-shirt is back. This shirt was actually done by Seabird Studios. Seabird Studios actually drew this sketch for me a couple of years ago, and I turned it into a t-shirt, and it was a black t-shirt with white letters, and I decided to bring it back. We printed out 3 different colors: black, red, and green, and those are available on regiecollects.com. So there you go. Tina's on it. She's on it. All right. So, all right, with that said, I'm going to wrap this thing up. Let me give you guys a quick recap again of some of the content that's going to be coming out from the channel over the course of this week. I'm going to be doing a video on how to not catch a brick. And a brick is a bad deal. It is something that I say in videos, and I decided to go ahead and put a video together that talks about how to avoid catching a brick. So that is one video that's going to be coming out this week. I'm going to be doing one on obscure comics found in the 100K collection. I recorded this video probably a couple of weeks ago. I'm just now releasing it to you guys. I have a CGC unboxing / CGC submission video that's coming out. And then we're also going to do the Comics Today show on Wednesday at 7 p.m. There's going to be a little bit of a reveal in that live stream. So I definitely want to encourage you guys to tune in for that. I think it's going to be a cool reveal. I'm partnering up with somebody to make a reveal, to make an announcement. I don't know what you want to call it, but it should be fun. And then we're also going to be releasing one podcast on Monday at 7 a.m. Eastern time, and then one blog post by Doug on Wednesday, 7 a.m. So a lot of good content that is going to be coming up from the channel, and it will be making its way, hopefully, to a screen, a tablet, a mobile device, a podcast platform player somewhere near you. As always, if you guys need to reach out to me, feel free to do so on Instagram. But before I go, I want to invite Lou Ferrigno onto the show to say a few words.
Hi, Lou Ferrigno here. I want to give a shout out to the Gibbon Gang. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. You don't make me angry.
Gotta love it. Shout out to Master Blaster for hooking me up with that clip. As always, like I said, if you guys need to reach out to me, feel free to do so on Instagram at Regie Collects. Take care.